Welcome to another video on smart architectural programming. And in today's video, we'll be going over how you can quickly upload files to your GitHub repositories easily without any trouble. So there are certain things that you must understand before we delve into the product. And even before we talk about those things, if you get any value from this video, please like and subscribe. And with that, let's move on to the main crux of this video. So we're going to be looking into how we can upload our projects to GitHub, right? We can also say that this could be from from local to code to global stardom. That's the pathway we want to take in this particular process. So basically, this is a very essential aspect to what every programmer must know. So from a curious newbie to a seasoned coder, uploading your project to GitHub is an essential component for any programmer. So if you've ever been frustrated thinking, why isn't my code out there getting the attention it deserves, or why does everybody keep talking about GitHub, then grab a coffee, lean back, and let's demystify it together. So the first thing is we need to understand why GitHub matters, right? We've heard of GitHub, what it is. Why is GitHub important? As you can see on my screen, that's the homepage for GitHub. GitHub is like the Instagram of programming, basically. Except instead of selfies, you share your code. It allows collaboration, version control, and impressive way to showcase your work. It's where ideas become reality, and yes, it can also get you that dream job. Imagine this: a recruiter looks at your GitHub, sees your project with clean documentation, and bam, you've already made an impression. Sounds exciting, right? So let's focus on what you'll need, basically. So before we start, let's ensure you've got your toolbox ready for the following softwares that you might need. So first, you need Git installed. So what is Git? As you can see right now, this is Git. Go ahead and install Git relevant to your particular feature. So just a little bit of a digression on Git. Basically, this is the bridge between your local code and GitHub. GitHub records your version control files, right? But Git is the version control system that runs version control on your computer, basically, with your files. You don't need GitHub for version control. Git can do all of that. GitHub is just a cloud platform where you can save your version control software or collaborate on version control from your local environment. Then you need a GitHub account, as I mentioned before. You need to create a GitHub account, and if you don't have one, and then you need your project files, basically the project that you need work for. Whether it's a website app or a game, you've got something awesome to share, we can put it up on GitHub. So after you have all these things, you're all set. Then we get to the practical side of this particular video. So there are two ways basically you can go about doing this. The easier way, let's move on to the screen here, is that we just create a simple repo here. I might want to digress here from the simple method for a second, because we have SSH and GPG keys. This is something that you must set. Your SSH credentials to your local environment must be set for the second method that we'll be going over. But for the first method, you just need to go here on GitHub, create a new repository, right? Create any repository here. We're just going to call this new test. Once you have this repository, make it public, or whatever you need. You can add a readme file or not. I'm just gonna add that for just as a standard, and then you can go here. You'll see the add file button here. You can go there, create new file, upload a new file here. Not create, you can write code here basically, but there are two ways to add a file in GitHub. You can create a new file by copy pasting your code and creating that file directly on GitHub, or you can just upload that file, right? So we go to choose your files here. Let's say go to where's that folder I have on desktop. Yep, here it is. I just created this folder for the test, and we can just add a random file here, and write our message here. Exactly, this is kind of necessary if you're working in teams, because it helps you make sure that you are able to tell exactly why you made this commit or you added this file on GitHub. So we'll just write concurrency here and see just as a reference here, and commit this changes. As you can see, this file was uploaded, and that is how the simple way you can upload a file on GitHub. But there's another way but this method is basically kind of more suited to one or two files that you might want to upload. But if you want to upload more than one file, right, then there's another way. We create another repository here. We'll call this new test2. Once that file is created, we're just going to create the repository. It gives you instructions here how to do that. To a degree, we're going to be using SSH because password-based authentication on GitHub has been discontinued. So it's better that, but to do SSH, you need to set up your SSH access to your particular machine here, basically. And then we go back here and we just we just basically go through this process here because we already have SSH keys sorted out. So let's go back to the our terminal here. Let's clear the terminal here. Once the terminal is cleared, then we'll paste our first value here. It's already, there's a remote origin already set up, so we're going to need to remove the remote origin. Yeah, we need to remove the remote origin, and then we add a new remote origin basically. But again, you just need to follow the instructions given here, and you should be able to upload your entire repo onto GitHub. I'm just going to quickly do this so you get familiar with the process. Now we just need to run the final command on that list, and we should have our GitHub sorted out. Yep, all our files are uploaded. So we go back here, we refresh this repository, and you should see all of the files that we want to upload there. So that is basically how you can upload files easily on GitHub. But once that's done, we also need to basically understand that this isn't a very tricky process, and you can do it very, very quickly. So let's go over some of the common mistakes here. So there's something called as you all know, programming is a very, very tricky process, in the sense when you're learning a new thing, you'll constantly have the same problems that everyone else has. So some common roadblocks and how to handle them would be something we'll be covering next. Basically, always remember they're detached head errors. It sounds scary, but it's just GitHub being picky about the branches. So make sure you're working on the right branch. Use git branch command to make sure that the branches, you're on the right branch before you're committing. Then their file size issues. GitHub has a file size limit for big files. Use git large file storage. That's important. Number 3 is you probably forgot a step in between. So that is no problem at all. Git is a super forgiving tool. Basically, you can amend commits or redo steps. Some pro tips is basically to use gitignore to avoid uploading sensitive files like API keys. And you can also add a solid readme.md file to explain your project. It's your first impression, basically. And basically after that, it's now time for action for you. Basically after this, I want you to set up a small project, follow these steps that we've shown, and share your project on our comments, basically, and how successful were you in getting, uploading these files to GitHub. So post you can also post your repository link on your favorite programming forum or even LinkedIn, or more specifically, you can paste the repository link to your favorite project or this test project where you just uploaded the file on the comments below, and just let's see how it helps. Basically, if you have any questions, troubleshooting, branch confusion, or just want to chat about cool GitHub repos, let's talk. Let me know in the chat below. Remember, uploading GitHub isn't just skill, it's a gateway to collaboration, learning, and showcasing your awesomeness. Happy coding, and may your commits be clean and your repos shine bright. Also, don't forget to start this repository of knowledge and follow Smart Architectural Programming for more sessions like this one. With that, I'm going to wrap up and see you in our next video. Thank you.